Hi everybody, welcome to my presentation. My name is Jasmine and I'm the PSRF for STARS, or the Sustainability Tracking Assessment and Rating System. So STARS can be kind of thought of as like a test on steroids. So the test takers are colleges around the world. The grades are these like designations from bronze to platinum. Their responses and results are posted for everybody to see and access to encourage collaboration, and the test sometimes, in our case, takes a whole academic year to complete. So, next slide. SWAT has participated in STARS since 2011, but received our first formal rating in 2017, completed by Patrick Houston and Bridget Scott. These were two fellows in the inaugural PSRF class, and they did a lot of groundwork to make this happen. And so since each school is required to renew their submission for it to be valid every 3 years, my PSRF project was to revisit this report and publish a new version this spring, which is what I did. So with Patrick and Bridget's efforts, SWAT did a great job on our 2017 report, receiving a total of 58 points for a silver rating, which we see to be on par with the aggregated performance of some of our peer institutions, the top 20 liberal arts colleges, for instance, as displayed in this graph. So for Patrick and Bridget, as well as myself, the data collection process is super rigorous, and this is just a little screenshot of what my process looked like. Don't bother to read it because it's very convoluted at parts. So the STARS report comprises of about 70 credits and probably over 700 data fields. So that required creating like a master list of people who could help us with this process. And from there, I sent out numerous emails, had countless great in-person meetings, and basically tried to learn everything there was to learn about the college, like institutionally, in order to get the data in on time. This was, needless to say, a very stressful experience, but I had a lot of support in this process. But having to familiarize myself with the baseline set by Patrick and Bridget and trying to capture everything that's changed since 2017 was quite the monumental task. So the entire process is summarized here, in addition to a screenshot of how the online reporting tool looks like. And then Cara and I sat together on March 6th, the day before spring break, and also what turned out to be our last day together on campus, to submit our 2020 report. So from the comfort of our own homes, we've then received draft revisions on April 16th to come up with a provisional score and also address some of the feedback that were given to us by the ASHE STARS staff. And we're still in the process of making these revisions so that we can submit for a formal rating. So the end result is as follows. The hope is always to see improvement in longitudinal reports like this, which has certainly happened, but isn't always captured in a straightforward score. So while this is absolutely subject to change with our second round of revisions, Swarthmore ended up scoring a total of 54 points this time around, which puts us at another silver rating. But here are some of my thoughts. In the 2020 report, there were several areas to both celebrate and scrutinize. To explain a few, we boosted our scores on the undergraduate program and employee educators program, since we formally established an environmental studies major and the sustainability advocates program since the 2017 report. Our performance on other credits have decreased, however, sometimes for reasons outside of our control. In terms of the academic courses credits, more students are now majoring in CS and other departments that don't have a learning outcome or departmental definition of sustainability. However, this can be changed. And then same for water use, perhaps because of the increase in new building square footage relative to campus population, this number also fluctuates. And then other things to note are that in new versions of STARS that they publish and they frequently update, there are increased score values for scores that we don't necessarily change our personal performance on, but the weightings do change. And so, for instance, areas like sustainable investment do get more weighting for this time around as opposed to our 2017 report. So the hard part is, Bridget and Patrick made very similar recommendations, that were super well received 3 years ago, but during the 3 years between my project and theirs, a lot of momentum and institutional memory was lost. So rather than focusing on like the nitpicking, like where exactly should we be getting points that we don't, the focus, I think on the whole, should be on developing commitments that we can stick to. So by turning this into a more continuous process, which is already in the works, as there will be a new PSRF coming in to pass the torch onto, and also just creating committees or just more like measurable commitments that we actually revisit more than 3 years at a time. That could help us like avoid a lot of the pitfalls that we fell into this time around. So my experience as a PSRF has definitely been both challenging and rewarding. I did mention before, like the whole process of having to relearn this program from scratch and to like take on as much information as I could about the school in my very limited time was a pretty big challenge, but I was also able to meet and collaborate with people from all different departments on campus that I probably wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And this project also definitely gave me a greater appreciation for all the groundwork necessary to make institutional change actually happen. So thank you everybody for listening to this presentation, and particularly these people who have made this project possible in so many various ways.